In 2025, Texas A&M University made national headlines after a classroom controversy exposed the danger of ideology being pushed where it does not belong. Professor Melissa McCowell, a senior lecturer in children's literature, had been teaching her course on modern children's books when she inserted lessons on gender identity that went far beyond the scope of the syllabus. One student, unsettled by the material and its ideological framing, raised concerns, asking for accountability and clarity. McCowell insisted the content was appropriate, legal, and part of her teaching agenda, telling students who were uncomfortable that they could leave. That moment, captured on video and quickly shared online, sparked outrage from students, parents, and political leaders alike, showing how classroom overreach can escalate from one lecture to a national debate in hours.
I just have a question because I'm not entirely sure this is legal to be teaching. Because according to our president, there's only two genders, and he said that he would be freezing agencies' funding programs that promote gender ideology.
You are under misconception that what I'm saying is
Your gender is not illegal. According to President Trump's executive order, if you want me to read the paragraph in the order itself.
It's not enough. If you are uncomfortable in this class, you do have the right to leave.
Yes.
What we are doing is not illegal. And if you would like to claim that it is, you need to talk to the department or the head of it.
Well, I've already been in contact with the president of A&M, and I actually have a meeting with him in person to show all of my documentation tomorrow. But
we are also aware, and this is part of why there was a murder in the past.
yes.
I'm not convinced that your proposal will be effective in stopping me from teaching things that are biologically true, because I do have the legal and ethical authority, legal and professional expertise for this classroom.
Okay. Yeah, no, I am.
The response was swift and decisive. Texas Governor Greg Abbott and other Republican officials condemned McCowell's actions, criticizing the imposition of gender ideology in a classroom where students were expecting to study literature, not politics. The university administration under President Mark A. Welsh III acted by removing not only McCowell, but also two key administrators who had overseen the course: Mark Zorin, the Dean of College Arts and Sciences, and Emily Johansson, the head of the English department. Their dismissals underscored that responsibility for ideological overreach extends beyond one professor, reaching the administrative structures that allow such content to be presented without oversight. This was more than a classroom dispute. It was a clear example of the consequences when personal ideology overrides educational integrity. McCowell's actions were not neutral scholarship. They were an imposition of belief, pushing students to engage with perspectives they may not have been ready for or that they had every right to question. The student who spoke up did so courageously, refusing to accept ideological coercion as part of their education. Their willingness to challenge authority reminded the public that education is supposed to inform, not indoctrinate, and that standing up to overreach can lead to real accountability. These firings sent a dramatic message about the responsibility of both faculty and administrators. Mark Zorin and Emily Johansson were not passive bystanders. They were complicit in allowing this course content to be approved and taught under their oversight. Their removal reinforced the idea that academic freedom is not a shield for ideological advocacy. It is a principle that protects inquiry and debate, not the imposition of personal beliefs on students. The ripple effect of these dismissals reached far beyond Texas A&M, igniting national conversations about the role of theology in higher education and the accountability of both professors and administrators. Department heads across the country should take note. Pushing political or social agendas into the curriculum is not only unprofessional, but dangerous. Let this be a warning. Prioritize education over ideology or face the consequences. This incident also highlighted the power of vigilance and courage in the classroom. The students who raised concerns did more than protect their own learning. They held the university accountable and reminded institutions nationwide that classrooms are for education, not political agendas. Their actions exemplify the role of students as stakeholders in their education, capable of influencing culture and standards when they refuse to stay silent. It's a triumphant story of advocacy, demonstrating that speaking up can lead to tangible change, even against entrenched structures and authority figures. McCowell's firing, alongside the removal of Zoran and Johansson, serve as a cautionary tale for educators. Pushing personal ideology in the classroom has consequences. Universities must ensure that course content aligns with stated objectives, respects the diversity of student perspectives, and fosters critical thinking rather than indoctrination. When professors step outside of these boundaries, the repercussions can be swift, dramatic, and far-reaching, affecting not only their own careers, but also the credibility of the institutions they represent. For students, this story is empowering. It shows that one voice, even that of a single concerned student, can influence national discourse. It can hold educators and administrators accountable and protect the integrity of learning environments. The Texas A&M case is a reminder that educational spaces are not passive backdrops for ideology, but arenas where ideas must be balanced with respect, clarity, and responsibility. When students question overreach, demand accountability, and refuse to accept propaganda in place of instruction, they exercise a kind of civic and intellectual courage that shapes the culture of learning for everyone. In the end, the McCowell controversy, with the firing of 3 high-profile figures and the involvement of state leaders, is more than a local scandal. It's a dramatic example of triumph over ideological overreach. It underscores that academic freedom has limits, that students' voices matter, and that universities must remain true to their educational missions. It reminds all who enter higher education that learning is meant to broaden the mind, not push a political agenda, and that when individuals speak up with integrity, it can create change that resonates far beyond their own classrooms. The courage of the students, the accountability enforced on the faculty and administrators, and the decisive involvement of political oversight makes this story one of justice, triumph, and the enduring principle that classrooms belong to learners, not ideologues. Department heads across the country should take note. The lesson is clear. Ideology does not belong in the classroom, and those who ignore this risk losing far more than credibility.